Hey folks, my name's Chris Wessel. Today we're going to be tying a fly pattern called the green slime. This pattern is a Marabou fly and we use it for Atlantic salmon here in the fall. Its origins probably came from an old steelhead pattern, as that's pretty common material to use in steelhead flies. So without further ado, let's get on into it. Alright, today we're going to be tying with a number 1 low water partridge hook. Nice little up eye hook, and the body on this fly is super simple. I just start with my underbody right off the bat because we are going to be laying down some mylar, and we just bring that back to the hook point. Sorry, just give that a little bit of a twist there. Bring that back up. And we're going to use, today we're going to use 6/0 chartreuse uni thread. Pretty much everything on this fly is going to be green or chartreuse. And I don't tie this exactly to the recipe. I like to do a couple things differently. So I'm actually just going to tie that off again because I'm going to put some mylar on this. Alright, so before I put my mylar down, I'm going to put a little base of head cement on that underbody. And that's just to add to some durability. So usually this calls for a silver mylar. We're going to get crazy. We're going to use some holographic green mylar today. This stuff is also a uni product. I figure if we're gonna tie a green slime, let's make everything green. Sorry guys, I got something in my throat. And just as that mylar is twisting up, I'm just untwisting it by spinning my bobbin around. Alright, and we're going to come back in with our chartreuse uni thread and just tie that mylar in. A few wraps around it's fine before you cut. Get rid of that thread. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to tie a what they call a dubbing ball, and this dubbing ball is meant to keep everything in front of it flared out a little bit. It helps with the body shape when this fly gets wet, and it also actually assists in keeping those longer fibers from fouling around this bend in the hook. So today for the dubbing, we're using this really cool blend. It's actually by Loop. It's like a sparkly blend. I really like it. These flies for fall Atlantic salmon, I don't worry too much about it having too much sparkle or bling to it, just because the fish seem to like it that time of year, or what I should say is they seem to hate it that time of year and causing them to strike it. Salmon start getting a little bit territorial in the fall, and when you're coming near them and they're getting ready to bed down in their reds, they're pretty much attacking anything that comes near them. They're getting into a parent mode. They don't want anything around that could be eating their eggs. Alright, so that is our dubbing ball, and we could actually fluff that up a tiny bit. Where's my brush? There it is. Nothing crazy, just alright, So another thing I have recently learned about these types of flies is instead of just using a Marabou wing, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of bulk to this body. And how we're going to do that is we're going to use a puller fiber, and that product is by Just Add H2O. This stuff swims absolutely awesome. I use it for bait fish patterns, so it goes really nice with a fly like this. And you don't need it very long. But we're going to also reverse tie this, and we're going to do a few clumps just to try to get around the hook as much as possible. So I'll just get some more. The reason why I have to do it this way is this stuff does not slide around the hook very well. The fibers are really, they catch each other a lot, so. So I learned this from a gentleman by the name of Willie Holmes. He's in BC, and they fish a lot of these style flies for steelhead. I was chatting with him about Marabou patterns, and he had mentioned that this is a great way to kind of flare those wings out and get a bit of extra material on that fly. Marabou, when it gets wet by itself, really flattens down. So that's why I found this to be a pretty interesting concept. It's not a new concept, I'm sure. It's new to me. So, alright, so now that we have some puller fiber around that shank, we're going to use, you know, I could probably pull that back with my fingers. I don't think I need a pen for that. And it's nice and flared out. And we do a few wraps there just to hold that back. You can see how that bulks out a lot around that dubbing ball. That's what we're looking for. So now what we want to do is we want to add some flash to this. Also another loop product is this angel hair. Like really, really nice blend. It has flash, it has these like little straw fibers. I love this stuff. Try to get that up there. There we go. So a few wraps, folded over on the opposite side of the hook, and another few wraps. That way you get some pretty good coverage. Now we're going to trim this stuff up later on, but we're going to wait until the fly is done, pretty much done to do that. And that way we can really size up where we want everything. So right now I'm just putting a little bit of head cement around here, and that's going to help hold that in place. Alright, I'm just going to use my dubbing brush to give that a little brush and just kind of see where I'm standing. Alright, so we're going to come down here, and now we're going to take a Marabou feather, and we're using a green or a chartreuse for this. I believe it's actually chartreuse. It's a darker chartreuse. And you're going to just come up your fiber and just wet this, or pull it off. You need to have something to tie in there, so I picked a weak feather. That's alright. Marabou is a bugger to work with. It gets everywhere. But we can, anything that looks unperfect now, don't worry about it, guys. You can really just brush most of this out after the fact. But wet your fingers a little bit and just kind of brush this stuff back. And you're just gonna start wrapping. Sorry, I got some fibers trapped here. And just keep wetting the feather with your fingers. As you're wrapping, you're pulling back, wetting the fibers. Been fishing these Marabou patterns for a long time. I started fishing these in Nova Scotia growing up, and I've not recently, geez, I've been in Newfoundland for 20 years and recently started using them again here in later season, and some other anglers use them here too, that with really good success. You see there's a lot of brushing involved with this to get that marabou to come back. There we go. Again, I'm not worried about anything that's kind of trapped and out of place. I will get that brushed out after the fact. I probably could have used some hackle pliers here, to be honest. Just kind of trying to brush that out of the way, and I'm just stripping this off, which I should have done before I started tying, just to have something to tie in there. Alright. And I just got a little bit of stem left over there. I'm going to cut that off. And before we start brushing this back and kind of refining the fly, what we're going to do is we are going to tie off on this. Yeah, I don't even know why I'm doing that right now. I haven't finished wrapping in the head yet. Sorry, wrap in your head, then tie off. Alright. So, now we need to kind of brush this out, and we need to trim off some of that flash in the back. So all I do is I just lick my fingers and I come back, brush these back, and then I kind of pinch off where I'm going to want to start getting rid of some of these fibers, and just kind of stagger your cutting a little bit so it's not really a paintbrush kind of look. And that's what your fly is going to look like in the water. Well, a little bit more wet than that, but so we're going to finish this off with a little bit of head cement. And that is a green slime variant, just because I know I added in my own body, and a green slime typically doesn't have polar fiber in the body either. But you know, it's if you're used to fishing these marabou patterns, maybe it's something you might want to try. Something different. Get a nice thick body when it's wet. Alright, thank you folks very much for stopping by. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. But if subscriptions is not your thing, I can appreciate that. And I'm just happy to have you here. So have a great day, and we will see you next time.